Welcome back, AP. Now, sorry, I'm in just such a good mood right now. Granted, my team lost last night. When you play a team that's like Auburn that was shooting lights out like that, there's no way you're going to beat them anyway. Now, just a couple of things. There's a couple of things you get to look forward to this weekend. Number one, gorgeous weather outside. Highly recommend you get out there and get into it. All right. Good luck to our girls lacrosse team today. All right. Good vibes, Emily O'Donnell. Big things as well. I'm looking outside and it's beautiful outside and I just can't wait to go sit in a park and read for like a couple hours. You're also going to have to put up with the fact that my voice is very hoarse from yelling at the game yesterday. But not the basketball game, the lacrosse game. So we stopped about right here in our discussion of European imperialism, right? Now, we're going to finish up imperialism right here. So what I want you to do is just kind of jot the rest of the stuff about the Meiji Restoration, Emperor Meiji coming in, right? You know, like doing an about face instead of being more like feudal Japan based. He's going to become a buyer in the imperial sense, and he's going to actually push forward extreme modernization. They're going to imperialize Korea. The samurai rebellion against the Meiji is going to occur, and the samurai are going to be crushed. Write that down next to this. Samurai rebellion crushed. Excuse me. And Japan is going to go through a period of extreme modernization, right? Now, we're going to cut it there with imperialism because I'm so happy that we now get to move into my favorite topic to discuss in all of history, period. These two things, World War I and the Russian Revolution. If some of you are a little upset, you think I moved through that Japan stuff a little bit too fast, rewind it, pause it, go ahead and jot that down, right? You're going to get a study guide tomorrow, all right, for that stuff, nationalism, imperialism stuff, okay? We are then going to begin some feuding between countries tomorrow as well. All right, so not tomorrow, but tomorrow's Sunday. We're going to begin some feuding between countries on Monday. All right, but let's get into just time period 4. Time period 4 is a beautiful time period, right? Time period 4, we're going to get over a month and change with. And it's the shortest one out of all of them, right? The first time period we talked about went from 1450 to 1648. That's 200 years, right? The second time period we talked about went from 1648 to 1648 to, 1815. 1648 to 1815. That's almost another 200 years. Time period 3 is 1815 to 1914, right? So, but that's a chock full of like post-Napoleonic kind of stuff, right? This time period, we're going from circa 1914-ish to 1980. So it's like very short, a lot of cool stuff though. Things that you'll find extremely interesting, including war, revolution, more war, depression, not like emotionally, but like economically. So like all kinds of stuff. Dada art. Wait till we get to that, right? So let's get into it. Now, the growing international conflict is going to be blowing up, right? Alliances. That's what I meant it to say is not, but when you read it, it looks like so Jillian, don't freak out when you look at your notes. But where did this all start though? So alliances really kind of came in Europe following the fallout of the Franco-Prussian War, right? A lot of these alliance structures that began to pop up post-World War I, kind of or not post-World War I, pre-World War I, kind of go into a lot of things that have to do with the German nationalization movement, all right? So the Franco-Prussian War being like the keystone in the alliance structure, okay? So following the Franco-Prussian War, the loss of Alsace and Lorraine, all right, to the Germans served as an embittered kind of like thorn in the side of France because these people predominantly spoke French. It's on their border. They owned it for quite some time. It was economically high producing. And Germany's rise to power and their taking of those two regions created a permanent rift between Germany and France. because like the Paris Commune, you know what I mean? Like when you roll in and you force Paris people to starve and eat zoo animals. Oof. When you roll in and have 20,000 people executed because they refuse to give up their military forces in their capital. So Germany is satisfied, quote unquote, as a power, as according to Otto von Bismarck. This is supposed to be a quote from Otto von Bismarck discussing the idea that they are now happy in the structure of which they're in, that they are satisfied with being where they are. Now, had Otto von Bismarck been able to keep doing his thing, World War I possibly would have been avoided altogether. Because here's the thing. If you look at Otto von Bismarck as a person, as a political figure, he would not have allowed World War I to break out the way that it did. Because it's economically disadvantageous to Germany, right? You're at a bad spot in the continent. The only way Germany's going to win that worldwide war before, spoiler alert, Germany doesn't win. But like, the only way they would have been able to win that war is if they would have gained the alliance of England, right? The one that France can never beat, okay? So Otto von Bismarck took initial strides to avoid war, and many people don't even actually realize that. Because early on, he tried to use alliances to try and prevent France from trying to pull something stupid and like invade Germany, which would have resulted in more war, more conflict, and a possible another war where there would have been coalitions to unite against one another, right? So Bismarck, being the genius that he is, right? We're getting into growing international conflict now. Kind of like the pots on the stove, you know, starting to cook up a little bit. Bismarck seriously is a genius. I think he's in my top 5. I think he's probably number 5 on my list of most influential figures in all of European history. Not even kidding. All right, like I think he's number 5 because I think Napoleon's my number 1. You just can't get mad about that. 5 is Bismarck, and then a couple of other. I should probably make a ranking. On the board. Oh, by the way, we need to get our body parts list back up on the board because some ignoramus erased it over J term, so I need those back. Like, also, it's just time to give it like a little refresher anyway, you know? So Bismarck is going to try and avoid war by keeping your worst enemy without any legitimate alliances, right? So Germany and Bismarck do the most genius thing you've ever seen. They create this thing called the Alliance of Three Emperors, right? So the Alliance of Three Emperors is going to try and create a system where there is an Eastern bloc of allies on the eastern portion of Europe, right? They're going to try and go Russia, Austria-Hungary, and Germany, right? Now, if you look at a map of Europe at the time, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Russia create the bulk of the eastern half of the, eastern half of Europe. Now, there is one hang-up to this alliance, okay? There's only one small rickety Jenga tile that could send this thing tumbling down. And it's the power vacuum that's being created in the Balkan states. Now, some of you are like, I know what a power vacuum is, but this is weird. Why do you have it organized this way? All right, so do me a favor. Put this over top of this. Go, the only hang up is Pan-Slavism. And a big area where Pan-Slavism is going to be occurring is the power vacuum within the Balkan states. Okay, so in the Balkan states, Serbia, Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, Montenegro, Albania, Macedonia, these areas in the Balkans, which all of your countries inhabit, are breaking away from a weakening Ottoman Empire. All right, the Ottoman Empire is falling, it's crumbling, it's not industrializing the way that it should, it's being very weakly led. They basically revolve around one strait of water known as the Dardanelles as the way that they actually keep everything going economically. And with Greece liberating itself back in the days when Lord Byron went to help and got shot and died and a little clubfoot incident, or he didn't even get shot. They tried to do surgery with unsterilized tools. So when Greece is liberating itself, you now have areas that don't have kings, right? So these power vacuums are being created. And you've got people like Austria-Hungary trying to grab them up, right? And you've got other individuals like Ottomans trying to get them back, right? And there are these other outbreaks of Balkan wars going on, okay? So the only really big hang-up to this entire thing is that inside of this power vacuum where there are these new little states being born, like this guy right here, Serbia, like Albania, like Bulgaria, and parts of Romania, is a trend known as Pan-Slavism, okay? Pan-Slavism is the idea that all Slavs should unite and aid one another in the advancement of Slavic self-determination, right? And the idea is that Serbians are Serbians, but they are a type of Slavic people. So Serbians should be supported by other Slavs to try and create Serbia, the country of Serbs, right? Now, the hang-up, or the only issue with all this, is that you have all these ethnic minorities that exist within Austria-Hungary, right? Austria-Hungary is home to a buttload of Slavs, right? So initially, Bismarck's like, oh, we're just going to create the alliance of three emperors and everything will be fine. And then this dead-arm, stupid piece of crap comes in named Kaiser Wilhelm II, and he screws it all up, right? He fires Bismarck immediately, and upon creating this new alliance of three emperors, he then refuses to renew this pact with Russia, okay? So, Russia is now on the market. Germany just broke up with Russia, all right? So, Russia might not be that modern still. They might have lost the Crimean War. Kaiser Wilhelm viewed them as more of a liability than a help than anything, because they were trying to push their little like German cousin Austria-Hungary to release Slavs, right, from their control. So they break apart with them. And Russia is now just floating around in the mist. So what is France going to do about this? They're going to align with Russia, all right? They give them bribes, they give them armaments so that they can have one gigantic power in the east and then them over on the other side of the west. Because France also knew in the long run that no matter what, England, push comes to shove, is probably going to ally with them, right? So now you've got Germany scrambling around trying to find a third ally, right? So they create what's known as the Triple Alliance. Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. Like, okay, that's not me trying to be rude or anything, but Italy has never had the reputation of being a military power, all right? Like, they just never have. They've had paintings and monasteries and the Renaissance and Michelangelo and things like that, but it's not like the Dreisen needle gun was invented in Italy, all right? Like, so then you've got the dual bloc, which has come in. It's France and Russia, all right? So then you've got a growing rivalry that centers around Britain and Germany. Fudge. All right, so Germany, Wilhelm screwed up everything. Germany was doing just fine. They've been a brand new empire for like 5 minutes and were doing great things, and then here comes a guy that has to lift his arm up like this to like shake people's hands. The growing rivalry between Britain and Germany is going to go, first of all, along racial ties, which is going to be a big one. Because British people and German people have historically actually aligned with one another because of racial ties, right? So Britain and Germany used to be together all the time because they're both descendant of Anglo-Saxons, right? Okay, so they are both Germanic peoples. Commercial gains, colonies, and industrialization, and a naval arms race is going to break this alliance, all right? So the dreadnought shows up. The beautiful HMS, the pride and glory that is the HMS, Her Majesty's sailing vessel, the Dreadnought, arrives. I'll show you a picture of it here in a minute. Denny, I know you're freaking out. Arrives, creating a naval arms race, right? So the Dreadnought begins to be created as a fully steam, I'm going to show you a picture real quick. A fully steam-powered iron vessel prepared to do war internationally on the seas is created in in England. So in opposition, the Germans create what's known as a U-boat. I hear you, Lucas, Laura, right? All the like Kieran, Annie Hatch, Unterseeboot. Like, so U-boat stands for Unterseeboot, right? So, which is German for underwater vessel, is the only way you're going to take down the Dreadnought, okay? So put the Dreadnought and the U-boat, okay? That's the naval arms race right there. So anti-continental feelings towards British imperialism are also going to add to the hysteria. The Boer Wars are going to increase the feelings of Britain trying to basically take over other areas of the world that would impact German interests economically. And imperious rivalries are finally going to be settled by the French and the British in the Anglo-French Entente, which is the new alliance. Now you have what's known as the Triple Entente, which includes Britain, France, Russia. All right? So the Boer Wars kind of settled everything out because the Germans were like, wait a minute, we had eyes on South Africa. And the British just came in there and took it. And the French saw this, again, as an opportunity to find another strong ally. Just like they did with Russia, they turned to Britain and they're like, look, British, check it out. We've had a foothold in North Africa for a long time. You know, Charles IX did his Charles X did his whole stupid thing where he took over Algeria and all that stuff. And so we'll stay in North and West Africa and give you all of South Africa that you want, and we won't touch it. All right? So following the Boer Wars, which gave Britain South Africa, right, and the French agreement to stay in North Africa, so begins the Anglo-French Entente. And an Entente is an informal agreement, which is the new alliance, right? And this right here is a glimpse into our naval arms race. So things are getting heated up, okay? Tomorrow, we will actually review this stuff in a game-like fashion for you guys to start creating some embittered rivalries as well. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the fantastic weather on Saturday, and I hope you guys have just a great day. Have a good one.